And if you shift your mentality towards that during these seasons, then you're going to feel less guilty about not doing school, because you're going to see that your children actually are in fact still growing and learning and advancing in life, just in different ways than what you might normally see. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a little bit since I posted, about a week I guess, maybe a little more than a week. And the reason for that is what actually led me to make this video. I'm talking all about homeschooling in the difficult seasons of life. And we all have them. It doesn't matter where we live, how much money we have, we all have difficult seasons. And there are so many reasons for that. And we are going through one right now. Well, I should say we've been going through one this past week. I feel like we are coming out of it at the moment, which is why I haven't posted anything on YouTube in a week. But we're making it through. And I wanted to discuss as a homeschool family how we handle the actual homeschool side of things when life is hard and when life just isn't going the way it normally does, and what we do, how we handle that. So that's what we're here to talk about today. And I hope that this is encouraging to somebody. Now, I'm in my sunroom and it's a little bit echoey in this room. Whenever I'm in here, the sound is just a little echoey. So bear with me for that. I know it may not be the best sound quality, but I promise you, if you stick around, you're going to get some encouragement from this video. Of course, I have my coffee with me, because what's a video without a cup of coffee? I'll also let you know that down in the description box, I'm putting a link to a blog post on my website where I talk about pretty much everything I'm going to be talking about today, but in more detail. So if you want to read a little bit more about it, then you can find that link down in the description box. Okay, so let's get into the very first thing I want to talk about, and that is the fact that hard times do come. It does not matter. Like I said before, it doesn't matter where you're from, where you live, what your job is, who your family is. It doesn't matter. Hard times come. So I think that a healthy perspective to have, and I know I'm just speaking from experience here, is that you can't expect perfection. You can't expect the best of you all of the time when it comes to your homeschool. I have routines that I've established with our kids when it comes to our homeschool and things that we do every day. But this past week, during our hard season, and I'll get into more details on that in a moment, but during our hard season, that routine did not happen at all, not even a little bit. So I had to be okay with that. Leading up to this past week, in anticipation of what I knew was coming, I had to remind myself that it was okay, that we weren't going to maintain the same level of rhythm that we normally do. And I think that as homeschool moms, I think we do feel an immense pressure to stay on top of things with our kids, because we have so many outside voices making us fear the whole falling behind thing, right? And so if we do have a period of time, whether it's a few days or even a few weeks, where we really aren't capable of managing the full homeschool routine and schedule, then we can become very fearful that we're failing our kids, that our kids are going to suffer for it. But the reality is, and I've discovered this only through my experience, is that they're fine and they're going to be fine. So, before you start homeschooling in general, remind yourself that hard times are going to come. There's different seasons of life, and you're not always going to be at the top of your game. And then also, if you know something's about to happen, if you know you're going to be entering into a difficult season, remind yourself of that. Just be kind, be patient with yourself, and remind your kids. I'm going to get into that in a minute, but remind your kids that things are going to look a little differently for the next week or so, or whatever the time period is. It's good to do that. It's going to give them a little bit more security, because they're not going to be waking up every day wondering what the day is going to look like. If they know ahead of time that things are going to be just off routine a little bit, then it's just going to work better for them, and you're going to feel better about it as the homeschool mom. So I'll just give you a little backstory on what we've been going through. I'm not going to give too many details, because I'm, obviously it's the internet, and I'm not going to share every little personal detail. But my son, who's 6, he had to have a minor surgery at the beginning of this past week. So we knew it was coming. We prayed for a while that maybe he didn't have to have it, but it ended up being that he did. And we have seen God's hand in this whole process. It's actually been wonderful, right down to exactly what nurse he had and his doctors. It's just been phenomenal. But he had to have a surgery this past Tuesday. So right now, today, it is Saturday. So we're on day 4 of his recovery. And it's been a really challenging week. Obviously, when you have a child who has any sort of a medical condition or is recovering from surgery, there is going to be a change in your routine. You cannot go on life as normal when that's the case. And so our week has definitely been different than normal. And I've had to let almost all of our homeschool just go for the week. For him, it has been. For him, he's done nothing as far as schoolwork goes. My daughter, who's older, she's 11, I told her prior to my son going in for his surgery, I told her what to expect. And I said, Rebecca, for this week, we obviously aren't going to be gathering together the way we normally do while Bennett recovers. So what's expected of you is I want you to do your math every day. And we are going to be going over, she had a few concepts in her language arts curriculum that she hadn't quite grasped. So I said, we're going to go through those and you need to be reading. I said, that is what I want you to focus on this week. Other than that, the week is yours, my dear. You can play, you can do whatever you want. And so she knew what to expect going into the week. I knew that she knew what I wanted, so I didn't feel this pressure to guide her and steer her every day in a certain direction. And my son could just rest and recover, which is exactly what he needed to do. Now for him, we ended up doing a lot of reading. And again, I'm going to touch on that in a minute. But one thing that I did for him is got a couple really great read alouds from the library of topics that interest him. And so then we would just curl up on the couch together and I would read him some stories. And he really, really liked that. But he had no school this week at all. His job was to recover. And that is all I expected of him. So having the right mentality around a difficult season is so important for not just you as the mom, but for your kids as well, just so that they know what to expect and everybody feels a little bit more calm about it. All right, so the next part of this that I want to talk about is during a difficult season, and it could be like what we're going through where it's recovery, could be maybe somebody in your family has a chronic illness, maybe there's just a series of life changes that are happening that are causing a challenge for you and your homeschool right now. There could be so many things. It could be a new baby. It could be a difficult season, but for a really great reason, right? It doesn't mean that good things can't be hard. But when you're going through something difficult, something that's taking you out of your normal routine and rhythm in your homeschool, it's really important to just focus on what matters the most. And oftentimes when we think about homeschool, we think about, okay, well, what's the most important? Math, language arts, right? And those are important. But in seasons of life that are difficult, especially if it's difficult negative, again, like having a baby is a wonderful thing. It's busy and it's hard, but it's a good thing. But if you're going through something really challenging, really hard, that's maybe not quite as positive, the most important thing to focus on is relationship with your kids and making sure your kids feel secure and safe and loved no matter what is going on in their world around them. Math and language arts are absolutely secondary to the relationship with your children and them feeling safe and secure. So if you're going through something hard, just remember that and let that be what drives all of your decisions around what you do. Because strengthening that relationship, maintaining it, but strengthening it through a difficult season is, in my opinion, the most important thing. And that is what I focused on this past week with both of my kids and with my son in particular. I just wanted him to feel extra special, extra loved, and to know that mommy and daddy and his sister were here for him no matter what. We're going to help him through anything. It doesn't matter what it is. And that was my focus this week. Now, when it comes to your actual homeschool day, because for us in this particular season, now we've had lots of difficult seasons in life. This is not our first and it won't be our last. But in this particular season, we knew going in that it was coming, and we know it's for a certain amount of time. So his recovery is expected to be about 2 weeks until full recovery. So we know that we're looking at a certain block of time. Sometimes you don't know that. Sometimes you don't even see it coming. But whatever you're in, or whatever you will be in the future, there are some practical ways that I've come up with to handle your homeschool time during that season, whether it lasts a week, a month, or a year, whatever it is. I hope and I pray for your sake your difficult season is not lasting a year. But I know for some people in some situations that is the case. And my prayers are with you for that. But whatever the situation is, there are practical ways to handle your homeschool. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. One really great thing that you can do, no matter what you're going through, is read alouds. And we do read alouds in our regular homeschool routine on a regular basis anyway. But read alouds are just a great way to bring everybody together. Because as you know, if you're a homeschooling family yourself, that when you homeschool, everybody is just so accustomed to being together pretty much all of the time. And so when things happen that start to separate you as a family, you can all feel very disjointed very quickly. So read alouds are a really great way to just get everybody together. You can, pop some popcorn or whatever your favorite snack is and just curl up on the couch and read a book. If nothing else, you are spending time together. You are strengthening that family bond, and you are doing something familiar. Read alouds are familiar. Spending time together is familiar. And it's just going to bring a whole lot of peace and comfort to an otherwise unsettling situation. Another great option for handling your homeschool during these tricky times in life, if you're wanting your children to still really be learning new things, but maybe you aren't available to work with them on that, is educational movies and documentaries. They are fantastic. And listen, I am not above having my children watch something on TV, really ever, to be honest. We do have rules around how much screen time they have, absolutely. But I am not above letting them, watch something that is educational and is going to teach them something. YouTube has a ton of documentaries, but there's things you can find things at your local library. Ask your kids what they're interested in. Say one of them has an interest in dinosaurs or volcanoes or outer space or whatever it is. There are endless resources now online of amazing kid-friendly documentaries that you can let your kids watch. They're still expanding their minds. They're interested. They're learning new things, but it frees you up to be able to handle whatever it is that you have to handle during the season of life. So educational movies, documentaries, whatever you want to call them, are a great way to handle your homeschool if you're just not able to be as present as you normally are. And another option is board games. Now, board games can be, in and of themselves, very educational. Board games can really work with math skills. I know there's a lot of the ones that are geared towards younger kids are fantastic for their counting, and they're just wonderful. Color recognition, shapes, all those things. But even for your older kids, board games can be wonderful. They teach critical thinking if they have to strategize. They're really, really great, and they're fun. So that's another alternative as well. If you as a parent aren't able to be as present, these are great options. Board games, there's so many ones. Just see what your kids are into. Find something. It keeps your kids busy. It also keeps them together because unity is important. Gather everybody around the table to play a board game. And, it's just a great way to fill in some of that empty space in the day if your regular homeschool routine simply just cannot happen right now. All right, so another really, really good thing to focus on during these challenging seasons is life skills. So if you don't even care about the academics, which really, it's okay if you don't care about the academics during the hard season of life. There are so many valuable lessons just in your children seeing you deal with these situations. Math and science and all that actually really can wait. But life skills are an amazing thing to focus on during challenging times. And I'll give you an example. So the day that my son came home from the hospital from his surgery, my mother was here with our daughter. my husband and I were both at the hospital with our son. So when we came home, my daughter had taken it upon herself to make lunch for my son, of course he was hungry because he couldn't eat prior to the surgery, make lunch for him, make me a tea. She had gotten the couch all set up and comfortable for him so he could be comfortable. And she just really took charge in that moment. And I was so, so proud of her. But it's because she's been learning these various different life skills that she felt equipped to do that. And during this week, I've called on her for things. She's made lunches. She's gotten snacks. She's helped Bennett with things. She's been really, really helpful. And life skills are a very big part of homeschooling in general. But focus on those things during this time. If you know that you're going to have a few weeks where your homeschool routine isn't going to happen, then see if there's somebody in the family that can take one of your kids under their wing. Maybe you have somebody who is a woodworker and will show your kids how to work with some tools. Or, maybe one of your kids is really interested in, accounting, and you have somebody who's good at bookkeeping and they help teach all these things. I don't know. I'm not an accountant, so maybe that has nothing to do with bookkeeping. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? There's so many things that you can let your kids dive into during this time that will serve them for years to come, actually. And also just the basic life skills of maintaining a home. Because sometimes during difficult seasons, such as this past week for us, I really haven't had any time to clean and do the things around the house that I normally do. My time and attention has been purely focused on my son, which is where it should have been. But I was able to call on my daughter for certain things, and she was able to fill in the gap for me where normally I wouldn't need her to. And those are life skills that she is learning that she's going to carry way beyond this, 2 weeks of her life. So life skills is a great focus to have. And if you shift your mentality towards that during these seasons, then you're going to feel less guilty about not doing school, because you're going to see that your children actually are in fact still growing and learning and advancing in life, just in different ways than what you might normally see. Okay, so the next thing is definitely more geared to the academics. So let's just say your hard season in life is lasting longer than a week or two, okay? And you realize that, I can't let my kid do nothing for 6 months, and I don't want to enroll them in school. So what do I do? Well, a great option is online classes. And there are full online curriculums that you can take advantage of, but there's also just individual classes. We have used OutSchool a lot, and I will link that in the description as well. I'm not affiliated with them. I would love to be at some point. I'm not right now. We just have used them a lot and we really like it. And OutSchool has all kinds of different classes you can sign up for, and most of them, if not all of them, I'm not confident that it's all of them, so I don't want to say that it is, but all of the ones that we've ever used have been like pay per class. So you're not paying in advance this huge sum of money. You just pay per class, and it's really easy to cancel if it's not working for you, and paying that way makes it very affordable. So online classes are a great resource if you know it's going to be a longer time period and you just feel your kid needs a little bit more than what you can provide. So that's a great option. Look into that. Plus, again, there's all sorts of online curriculums where you don't need to be present. It's completely teacher driven, where your kids are taking courses from other teachers online. There's just so many options out there. So that's a great way to keep up with the academics over a longer period if it's just not something that you can handle in the season of life that you're in. All right, well, the last practical tip that I'm going to give before I end this off, I do have one more point I'd like to make, but the last practical tip is invite some friends over to play. Again, this all depends on what you're going through. Maybe having people over is just not going to work with whatever situation it is you're experiencing, and that's fair. But if it's something where you feel comfortable having people over to your home and you feel guilty that your kids aren't really getting the same structure or attention that they normally get, consider having a friend over. Maybe there's some friends in the homeschool community that are available, during the day because they homeschool, consider having a friend over to play with your kids, because having a friend over can just really distract your kids. Maybe what is going on is stressful for them. Maybe they're carrying a lot of anxiety or something around the situation at hand. So have a friend over to play. It's going to get their mind off of it. They're going to have fun. Maybe they will open up to their friend and talk and share a little bit about what's going on. And maybe depending on the age of the kids, maybe if the parent is staying, you can make a coffee and then you can chat and get some things off of your chest. I know that I am more than willing to talk to people if they want to talk to me, and I never mind. And so I like to think that they don't mind either. If I have somebody over and I'm going through something and I share that with them, then 9 times out of 10, if not more than that, they're very okay with listening, and then they'll follow up with me and I'll get messages of support. And it's always a good idea to connect with people and to not try to go through things alone. That can do so much for you mentally and emotionally. I just really encourage making those connections during any season, but especially in the hard seasons of life. Making those connections and friendships can really, really help. So I encourage you to do that. All right, so the very last point that I want to make on this topic is directly to you as the homeschool mom. More than anything, whatever's going on in your life right now, whatever the difficult season is, please give yourself some grace. Like I said before, you cannot expect yourself to perform at the very, very tippy top all of the time. It's not going to happen. So please give yourself some grace. Don't be hard on yourself, and realize that these times of difficulty, it's a great training ground for your kids to learn about life and learn about the things that are real, and they can't live in this bubble where everything is great all the time. So let them see what's going on, if it's appropriate, obviously, and give yourself some grace, and just remember that they love you. They don't need you to be perfect all the time. It's not important to them, so don't expect it of yourself. Just spend time with them, deal with whatever is in front of you, and let the rest go. You don't have to have the cleanest house. You don't have to have all the laundry done. You don't even have to have, your makeup on or yourself dressed or anything. Just, it is what it is. Give yourself grace. Don't be hard on yourself, and let some things go. Focus on your kids. Focus on relationship with them, making sure that they feel loved and secure, and everything else will eventually just kind of fall into place. Try to be kind to yourself and just let some stuff go, because it can wait. It's been a rough week for us. Like I said, it's been a very rough week. And to be honest, I almost didn't even film this video today. But my son's actually having a really good day today, and him and my daughter are playing. So I decided to take this opportunity and just share this encouragement with you in case anybody is going through a difficult season right now, or maybe you've come out of one and you're still dealing with a little bit of guilt over how you handled it. Just relax. We all go through it. None of us are exempt. So just relax. And I hope that you feel encouraged and inspired. That is my goal here. I just want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to feel supported and seen and encouraged. And so I hope that you felt that way today with this video. If you haven't already clicked subscribe, then please do so. My channel here is all about homeschooling and homemaking, and like I said, just bringing encouragement to you as the homeschool mom, as the homemaker. So if that's what you like, then stick around, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.